in the book. And we did a lot of things yesterday in that handout that I gave you guys that exercised your skills in graphing. And what you're going to be doing now is some more of that, but also you'll be plotting points, and then you'll be figuring out the area of those particular shapes. And hopefully all of you have written down the different formulas for the different shapes. So in example 1 here, it says, let me see here, it says the vertices. And before I go any further, I don't think I talked about what vertices are the other day. And vertices are where 2 points meet on a particular shape, or where 2 lines meet. The corners is another way of putting it. That's the vertices, okay? So anyways, in this particular one, it says draw the vertices of a quadrilateral, or it says the vertices are, and then it lists them here. And then it says draw that in a coordinate plane. Now, the piece of paper I gave you, I think you've got 8 graphs. Yours looks 6 graphs. Yours looks something like this. I think there's a line that goes sort of down the center and another one going this way. You can just ignore those lines and use those like you normally would a graph. The reason why they're like that is because starting next year, you won't just be using this particular quadrant. And what I mean by quadrant is, and this is kind of getting ahead of the game here, this is more 7th grade, this is considered quadrant 1, and the other 3, I think if I recall, this is quadrant 2, and I can't remember if this is 3 or if that's 4. I think this is 4. It's been a while since I taught that. But anyways, normally, I mean, for you guys, you're just dealing with what would be quadrant 1. But the reason why I have them divided into 4s is because that was a handout that I had used when I was teaching algebra and pre-algebra. So there was multiple quadrants. Anyways, so just ignore those lines for now, and you're just dealing with 1 quadrant. And what I want you to do is, it says on your own, this is what I'm looking at right here. It says draw the polygon with the given vertices in a coordinate plane. So here's number 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So on that handout that I gave you, and I'll hold it up here for a moment, you can see each one has a little hashtag, so you could just call this number 1, eyes up here, so you know what you're doing. This could be number 2, this could be number 3 right here, and this could be number 4. So I want you to do those 4, but let's go down a little bit further here. And this is what I had mentioned just a few minutes ago, that they'll have you draw, or not draw, but find the coordinates on a graph, and then it'll ask you what the area of a particular figure is. And so here's an example, and they say it's a real-life application. And it says, in a grid of the exhibits at a zoo, the vertices of the giraffe exhibit are, and they list them there. And it says the coordinates are measured in feet. What is the area of the giraffe exhibit? And so here you have this particular shape, and you would need to figure out what the area is. Of course, it would help to know the formula for the area of a trapezoid. Who remembers what it is? Area equals 1/2 times what?
Times height.
Times height. But then what's the rest of it?
Times base plus height.
B1 plus, and I'm glad she said that, B2, the 2 bases. And again, and this is something I had mentioned before, you guys need to remember that it's addition, not multiplication, because some of you have made the mistake, especially last week, where you were multiplying the 2 bases together. So make sure you don't do that. You want to add the 2 bases together. And of course, if the shape that you're working on is, let's say, a triangle, then it's a different formula that you would use. And it's also a different formula if it's a parallelogram, and it's also a different formula if it's just a rectangle or a square. But you've been taught those, so that shouldn't be a problem. So anyways, the first ones that I want you to do are 1, 2, 3, and 4 on your own, and use that handout that I gave you. And I'll probably have to give you guys another one, because there are some other problems here I want you to do. Let's see here. I want you to do number 4. Number 6.
Where's that 2 for?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, Mr. Conyers, I'm glad you pointed that out. I'll skip that 4 so there's not any confusion. I'll just jump to 6
What about 5?
and 8 and 10 and 12 and 14. Now, in 12 and 14, it says find the perimeter and the area. So make sure you do that. In 6, 7, and 8 here, all you're doing is drawing it. It's not asking for the area. Okay, Mr. Lesueur, you had a question?
I don't think we went over the perimeter with triangles and stuff.
Oh, well, that's just simply counting. Oh, right. Well, let's see here. Let's talk about that. Let me use this one as an example. Let me copy this. Oops, blew that. Let me try that again. Copy. I think what I'll do is I'm going to do 2 videos here, and I'll let you guys work on the first 4 that I gave you. There we go, now it's working. Let me end this really quick.